Yes, accept. शेख सर
जी सर
स्टार्ट कर दो सर.
चलो एक मिनट. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Bhakt Kavi Narsimha Mehta University, Junagadh, Professor Dr. Chetan Trivedi Sahib, today's eminent panelists who are going to reconfigure Indian digital classroom today, Dr. Dilip Bharat sir, Professor and Head Department of English, MK Bhavnagar University, Bhavnagar, Dr. Mahesh Jivani, Professor Department of Electronics, Saurashtra University, Rajkot, my colleagues Dr. Rupaben Dangar, Dr. Om Joshi Sahib, Mr. Rohal Rawal, and all digital learning lover viewers. Good morning. Before starting the webinar, I request all the participants and viewers to fill the online survey form if not filled yet. The link has already been shared on your registered email ID and will be shared on FB page within a few moments. This will be considered for your attendance and active participation. You are advised to write your question and queries in the question and answer box, which is given on the bottom of your screen. During question answer session and in between the discussion, your webinar theme related questions will be discussed by the experts Dr. Dilip Bharat Sahib and Dr. Mahesh Jivani. Today, we are going to reconfigure the teaching learning dynamics as it is the need of the time. We have invited Dr. Dilip Bharat sir and Dr. Mahesh Jivani sir to justify the topic. Before explaining you the background of this webinar, I would like to invite Dr. Rupa Dangar, Assistant Professor of English, Bhakt Kavi Narsimha Mehta University, Junagadh, to welcome the dignitaries. Dr. Rupa Ben, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning to everyone. It's my privilege that I got an opportunity to welcome all of you. First of all, I would like to welcome the honorable, visionary, dynamic, and I think the youngest Vice Chancellor of Gujarat, Dr. Chetan Trivedi sir, who is in this pandemic period working 24/7 for the betterment of the youth, betterment of the student. Sir, I heartily welcome you, and without your support, this kind of webinar is not possible at all. So I heartily welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor of University, Dr. Chetan Trivedi sir. Then I would like to welcome Dr. Dilip Barar sir, Professor and Head, Department of English, Bhavnagar University. Sir, I heartily welcome you. I would like to welcome Professor Mahesh Jivani sir. He is a professor, Department of Electronics, Saurashtra University, Rajkot. Sir, on behalf of the entire BKNMU family, I am heartily welcoming you. I would like to welcome head of the department, Dr. Sheikh sir, who is also working day and night for the betterment of students. Sir, I'm heartily welcoming you. I would like to welcome Dr. Om Joshi sir, who is also working day and night for organizing. He is really a supporter of the technical team. So I heartily welcome you, sir. I would like to heartily welcome all the participants from different kinds of origin. They are present here. I would like to welcome everybody on this webinar, post COVID-19 reconfiguring teaching learning dynamics, and we have two dignitaries, Dr. Dilip Baral sir and Dr. Mahesh Jivani sir, and I think that it will definitely be fruitful for everybody. So over to you, Dr. Sheikh sir.
Thank you, Rupa Ben. Now, let us discuss the purpose of organizing this national level webinar. The current pandemic is not only seen affecting the health of the citizens in the country, but is also seen hindering higher education. The problem, the education reform in India in the COVID-19 era seems to be a live example of how need truly is the mother of invention or reinvention in this scenario. Allowing educational institutions to adopt online learning and infuse a virtual study culture, the pandemic is already steering the sector forward with technological innovation and advancements. The switch to online education has been ensuring that students suffer no loss of studies. It is probably the first for India to experiment with the education system and make a paradigm shift to the virtual world, blending classrooms with online learning. online lectures will also enable the students to learn creatively. Now, virtual classrooms are not only dependent on e-lectures, but also require one to have access to the e-content and online study material. Practice sheets, etc. are needed for the same. And that's where we lag behind, as our country is not fully equipped to make education reach all corners of the nation via digital platforms or online classrooms. Now, coming to the point, we have certain questions in our mind in this scenario so far as teaching learning dynamics are concerned. These questions are how to equip the teachers and the students to use teaching learning e-tools. Certain students and even teachers do not know unknowingly the etiquettes of online learning, how to educate them. What are the teaching tools to be used and their basics? What are the pros and cons of e-learning? What are the innovative use of technology in post-COVID-19 digital age? To solve our difficulties, we have invited Dr. Dilip Bharat sir and Dr. Mahesh Jivani sir. Both the panelists have proved themselves the masters in the field of digital learning through their research. Before inviting them to reconfigure the teaching learning dynamics in post-COVID age, I would like to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Chetan Trivedi sir, who himself is a man of technology and man of vision. He is perhaps the youngest Vice Chancellor, as Rupaben just now said, in Gujarat State. He has been working very hard to take Bhakt Kavi Narsingh Mehta University, Junagadh to its new height. Sir, please, for your presidential speech. Trivedi sir, please.
Very good morning to all of you. It has been an immense pleasure to be the part of this very important webinar, come workshop, come panel discussion, because it has been coming with a new shape. And I'm happy to see that more than 400 registrations have been done, because we have strictly limited to the participants, those who are interested and those who want to know and learn in the technology. And I can see that Zoom is almost all full and lots of Facebook viewers are with us. So first of all, I welcome those virtual attendants, and then I welcome Professor Bharat and Professor Jivani. It is not an exaggeration to tell that these two people have done a lots of work to the field of technology and education. Even before, they have also faced so many times part of criticism that there is no need. This technology cannot be replaced, cannot be there with in classes and all. At that time also, they have been doing with the same gist and zeal. And today, they are doing with the same gist and zeal. I really appreciate both the friends in a true and real sense. They are committed to work, they are dedicated to work, and their mission is to make the education pedagogies, the education temperament, the education vibrant environment more feasible, more practical, and more user-friendly. At some extent, this corona has helped them to put their talk at the right level. So I welcome them, both of them, because entire Gujarat know them. So there is no need to introduce them much. And then I really appreciated Dr. Sheikh and the entire team that this is the right time that you have selected a very appropriate topic of bringing those dynamics of teaching learning. Because we all know that right now, even though we are talking about post-COVID, but yesterday night I was talking still post-COVID has not started. It is COVID itself. We never know. Well, post-COVID means once COVID ends, COVID is still not ended. So we have to think from COVID itself, because this is a new experience for all of us. And this, when we have all closed our classes, so this is a different kind of time where we have witnessed whatnot. You see, first Notbandi, then Netbandi, then Gharbandi, then Classbandi. In every kind of restrictions, it is our culture and nature to fight, and we have to, show must go on. It should be the spirit of people. So we have to find out the alternate, the possible solutions, possible better solutions, if not the same. If we have to move from good to better and better to best, this would be the journey from lower to higher. In that sense, this corona has damaged. Yesterday, I was talking in one of the webinar with Pujya Bhai Sri Ramesh Bhai Oja of Porbandar. It was rightly been discussed that महामारी पण નથી, મંદી પણ નથી, અકસ્માત પણ નથી, મોજું પણ નથી, આર્થિક ડિપ્રેશન પણ નથી, વિદેશી આક્રમણ પણ નથી, કોમી રમખાણ પણ નથી. આ એક એવા પ્રકારનું નેચર છે. If you look at the characteristic of corona, undecided, unprevailed, unrecognized. So in that sense, we cannot do anything to corona, but what we can do is what we can. Because education is a constant activity, is a constant process. And government of Gujarat has already declared examinations and new admissions and everything will be started soon. So in that preparation, in that mode of preparation, each university, teacher and the students need to be upgraded to the new time and scope. So keeping those elements and ideas in mind, Department of English, Bhaktakavi Narsimha Mehta University has nicely organized this webinar come workshop come panel discussion at very right time, and I hope these two friends will definitely talk about the dynamics, looking at the constraint, possibility and all. So I think I should not talk much about what they're supposed to talk or what they will talk, because they are the best people to talk. Once again, I welcome all of you. I share my happiness that this kind of webinars are, this is almost our 15th of webinar of our university. We have been reached to more than 2 lakh students during those coronical time. And we have created a tremendous platform of coronical education with the help of different webinars and seminars and different platforms. And the spirit must go on. Once again, I congratulate Dr. Sheikh, Dr. Om Joshi for entire technical support, Dr. Rupa Ben for students coordination and all our dear students, not only from Junagadh, Porbandar, Gir Somnath and Dwarka, from Gujarat, from India and some other country also. I don't know what are the participations, but I welcome them all. And let's make today a very wonderful day. It should be a mode of new change of our life. And today we will end this webinar with some solid resolutions that we will put 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 actions in our daily life, in daily educational practices. And not only this talk and what of things should not be there. It should be the beginning. It should not be end. Thank you very much. Over to Sheikh sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir has shown us the new path of learning. Your speech has no doubt boosted our morale. Thank you very much, sir. To make the program more interactive and alive, we have adopted a different technique in this webinar. Both the speakers got the panelists. Sir, Bharat sir, Jivani sir, you please start your expert talk.
I think there is some technical problem at the end of Sheikh sir. So you, sir and Jivani sir, you may start with your talk, please.
Sir, you please, Bharat sir, Jivani sir, you please start your talk, sir, please.
Okay, am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, fine. I am getting a very low audio from Sheikh sir, so I think there is a problem with my network connection here. But okay, fine. I think I am audible very clearly to everybody. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so a very good morning to everybody. Thanks to Bhaktakavi Narsimha Mehta University, the Vice Chancellor, and the entire team of English Department for organizing this wonderful event. Reconfiguring, a very interesting word that is being selected for this a kind of a webinar or workshop or a panel discussion. And we have Professor Mahesh Jivani also with us. Today morning, we sent one link asking everybody to give some kind of feedback regarding how we look at ourselves, what is our preparedness as a teacher, when we look at as a networked teacher, where do we stand? And let us first have a look at what is the response of the participants I'm sharing a screen to see the response of the participants first. So this is, I hope you are able to see the screen.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, so out of like, for example, this screen is showing that it was about, do you have your blog or not? Yeah? We know that blog is something very simple. The people who are at the high end of having their websites, they may not require blog also. But blog is something to begin with online teaching. Blog is something that is at an entry level. Any teacher who is trying to have a digital presence, first perhaps will start with a blog, then maybe they will leave it. But what we are seeing here is that still 78% of the participants in this group do not have a blog also. Only 21.6, 22% have the blog. So when we look at reconfiguring ourselves as a network teacher or a teacher ready to play our role in the COVID time or post-COVID time, as Vice Chancellor has rightly pointed, that we are still in a COVID time, but we are trying to make ourselves future ready. So what will be the kind of a situation in post-COVID time? So we need to work. Many teachers who are here, they still need to think that why we never required to have a blog up till now in our teaching career, or as a research scholar, or even as a student also, because in many institutes, even students have their blog. So it is not like I'm a student, when I become a teacher, I will have a blog, but right from the school days or college days, the blog is something that is a part and parcel of one's digital presence. Then we asked about a website. Obviously, if there is a website, will be with lesser number of people than with the blog. And 91.9, almost 92% of the participants that we are here, 135 responses we have received, they do not have their website. Only 8% of us have a website. Now, see, when we are configuring ourselves for digital space, digital learning, online platform, teachers' website is a necessary kind of a thing. Why I believe in this, that teachers should have a website, because once you have a blog or a website, your content sharing becomes very easy. It is in your hand. I know in many institutes, there are the team of the experts who are taking care of website. Teachers just have to give their material. It is uploaded by the technical support team. I personally do not believe in that idea that any teacher, however rich or better the institute may be, whatever support institute is providing, the teacher should be, I again use the word Atmanirbhar, self-reliant in terms of technological use. So when, for example, there was one more concern here that was given to us by the organizing committee, that you also have to share your experience of conducting webinars or being a resource person or all those kinds of things, workshops and webinars. So in that also, what I have seen that when we were at our department conducting a national webinar last time, we wanted a web space, and because we were well versed with the website idea, we created our own website. Anytime, right? Midnight, 2 o'clock, early morning, 4 o'clock. If any teacher wants to work and give some tasks, they are completely self-reliant. Now that is very, very important thing. Be self-reliant in terms of sharing your material, uploading your material. Content management system should be in the hands of teachers. That is why these questions become necessary when we think of reconfiguring ourselves there. Then there was a YouTube channel or any video sharing channel. Obviously, YouTube is the most popular, and so there is no better alternative. There is Vimeo and other kinds of a thing. We can share videos through Google Drive also, but still YouTube is the most popular, and there 83% do not have that, 17% have, and that is relatively good. That 17% at least they have now their YouTube channel, they are uploaders, they are sharing the video content over there. Now here I would like to say that even if you do not prepare your videos, like Giovanni sir will say that one should prepare one's own videos. He is helping people in preparing home videos, preparing home studios also. I will request him to share more light on that, how he works on preparing a small studio in the home. And then he empowers teachers to become self-reliant in making wonderful videos. But in case you are still not able to do that, there are beautiful videos on YouTube. At least there should be playlists. We just have to compile good video resources, give a beautiful title that these are on speaking skills, these are on listening skills, writing skills, reading different videos, good quality video, scrutinized by teacher, cherry picking, selected by teacher, and then playlists are prepared. Now, at least that anybody can do. Even if you don't have your video, at least prepare a playlist on your YouTube channel. So these were some of the concerns. Now, but this obviously tells that we need to work a lot. This red section tells us that we need to work a lot in reconfiguring, in motivating our teachers to have their digital presence in terms of blogs, websites, and YouTube channel. Very simple things there. The another questions, last two questions were about if you are a teacher and are teaching online, on which platform do you teach? So 87 responses we got, and obviously there are a large number of people on Google Classroom, 61%, and other people are using the other things also. We listed down many of the teaching platforms that our intention was also to see that you come to know that there are so many tools and you can try it out. Many are very costly also, like Blackboard, Canvas is partly paid, Edmodo. So Google is completely free. Moodle is completely free. But in case of Moodle, you require technical support. In terms of Google, you are self-reliant. The others are partly paid kind of in that case. But good to see 61% are using Google Classroom, and that is perhaps an easiest way to work out on that. And then there was a question that which web conferencing platform is used by the participant. 54 Zoom. Obviously, Zoom is the most popular. We are on Zoom right now also. Very easy, very friendly to teachers. At the second space is Google Meet. That also is there with 25% and other platforms there. Again, our idea was to inform you that there are so many web conferencing platforms. You can try out everything. Whatever is convenient in your environment with your learners, you have to try out in this model here also. If I scroll up and when we look at this chart, which was given in the form, which can help us in understanding that what we need to think, this one, online personal teaching network. This is something that all the participants should keep it very handy. You remember when we were students, we used to keep something on our wall, some kind of diagram, some kind of equations which we have to remember. So that should be always be before our eyes. So this list should always be before our eyes, and we have to say that in how many of these things I can score more points. I can tick mark yes, like teach and mentor, create your YouTube video lectures. Am I doing or not? Yes, it is good. No, I should do that. Create infographics, tweet resources, host a Google Hangout or a Meet, comment on blogs and online articles, many other things. So I should be doing maximum thing that is possible here, and slowly and steadily I am configuring myself for the time in which online teaching and learning is going to become very interesting aspect of this thing. So that was our intention, to let you know that how we work on this. Now, when we received the responses here, I would like to share that some of the responses, like for example, I don't know whether Dr. Manohar Dugaje is present here or not. He is from Maharashtra, Nashik, and he gave this response. Now, when I was looking at some of the random responses, I was looking at, for example, his response about a YouTube channel link that he has given. Okay, this was now on his channel. There is only one video. Yeah. But well, you say I have a response, but when we analyze, we find that even those who have said yes, and when we ask for their links, we find that still, well, this channel is not for academic purpose. It is only a wildlife video, only one, but the other videos are completely empty. We found very good YouTube channels also. Many of you are doing wonderful things also in doing this. Many have not given, like the other responses also were, in this one response, there was just the same Google Doc link was given, which was given here. So now, so when we see this, what we conclude is that when you are working on a digital platform, when you are communicating on digital platform, you have to be very precise, very accurate. You have to be very genuine also, because if you will lie, if you will tell something wrong, you will be caught, because all digital footprints will say that your response was a wrong response. So that is very important for teachers, for learners. A very important part in here becomes necessary to understand that. Some of you have done good responses were also given. We are not able to discuss all the responses, but this, that when we communicate,
Jivani sir, it seems that there should be some network problem at the end of Dilip Bhai.
Hello,
So
Jivani
better
sir.
Jivani sir, it looks that there would be some network error or some.
Yeah. I'm taking
You-
over.
Yeah.
I'm taking over. So, as there is some network issue at the end of, I'm audible.
Yes. Very much.
Yeah. So it might be some problem at the Barad sir network. So apart, whatever the talk or discussion done by Professor Barad, I'm agree on this. So first, everybody has to learn the etiquettes, which is basically known as the netiquettes for online learning and teaching, being expert as well as being a learner. See why this is the word used is reconfiguring. So basically we all are not designed and trained for this online learning and teaching and learning, right? So all of a sudden, because of this COVID-19, everybody started, and people also have a problem with the learning platform. There are so many learning platforms, so many choices are there, and now only the question is which platform is right and which platform. That's why this survey is also given a beautiful result. A number of people are using Google Classroom, streaming media, and all these things. But whenever we have to keep in mind that we all are not trained and designed for online learning and teaching. So obviously it takes time. This is a learning curve for expert as well as participants or the learner. Everybody has to learn, and all of a sudden, so this is not a magic stick that everybody got the idea how to do all these things. So it takes time, but I'm considering this is a good opportunity to learn all these things, because now onwards, this is a part of life. So when we see the past, sometimes what happened when the luxury as a technology luxury was there, and after some time it's a part of life, it's a necessity. Say for mobile, earlier mobile was a luxury, now it's a part of life. Same way, earlier Professor Honorable Vice Chancellor Trivedi sir agree with me that online teaching, e-content development, and all these things are comes under the category of a luxury, not the necessity. Since long we are doing all these things, but people are not taking seriously. Now all of a sudden, because of this period, people started learning all these things and started accepting. So now this technology, this online streaming technology and all these things is now part of life. even parents also knows what exactly Zoom, what are the streaming media. Earlier they were not familiar with this Zoom and streaming word itself, but now they are familiar with it. They also started learning because for their kid they also have to learn. So nowadays and now onwards, everything is a part of life now. So see, I am giving simple example. If you are using knife for cutting any fruits or vegetables, and if you don't know how to use knife correctly, probably it's possible you can hurt yourself. So here also there are chances that you must know how to use knife. So this how to use knife, it means how to use all these online tools perfectly, correctly. So one has to get trained into it. So plenty of opportunities are there. So one has to go it. Now, Barar sir said about the small video at home. So right now you can see a background behind me. So which is also a good simple thing which provided by the Zoom facility. But you cannot use, everybody cannot use this facility for two reasons. This facility is not available for Android phone. That is a one option. Second option is you need a very high speed computer or desktop with the good quality of webcam. If this configuration you have, then only you can able to use a virtual background perfectly. Apart from that, if you need a good performance as a virtual background, then you have to use Chroma screen. I'm very happy to show you behind me. I don't hesitate what I am using. So it's obviously for the learning purpose. So I am removing my background screen, and you can see what exactly behind me. Right now, there is no light in my chamber. I'm sitting without light and fan and all these things. Everything is running on a battery power. So I'm removing my background, so you can see what exactly behind me. So this is a normal green cloth. This is a normal green cloth which is readily available at any cloth shop. You can use, and you can do some trade-off between the settings. Then you can use it. So this is not a rocket science. I use this word particularly. This is not a rocket science. So this is, and then few things you have to do. There are plenty of broadcasting software is also available. Generally popular is OBS, Wirecast, XSplit. All these things are available. So only the thing is you have to use your guts, that and you have to learn being a teacher that how this Dr. Jivan is doing, how cannot I can do. So, and then you start searching how I can do this. Before asking anything, you can search on jiska koi nahi uska Google hai. So everything is available on Google and YouTube. If I got the idea how to use this, obviously everybody can get the idea how to do all these things. So these are the simple things one has to learn, and that where good resources are available, and how to get idea about all these things. So this is one thing. Another thing that again I am repeating this simple word. I am again going to repeat and repeat, because I get so many feedbacks and all these things. Always remember, again I am repeating this, we are not designed for the online training and learning. So it takes time for everybody. So but one has to start all these things, and once you start, then you started learning itself. So this is a learning curve. So it's a continuous process. Another thing is there are so many ideas to create.
Jivani sir, let me just interfere for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now on network is okay. You can continue. I just want to inform you that
I'm waiting for you, sir. I'm waiting for you.
I thought that let me inform
now
you.
Carry on.
No, you can complete what you were saying, sir.
Now the first part is as per the virtual screen and all this studio part is completed. So you carry on the another part.
Okay, okay. I was sharing a screen. I was talking. There was an internet spike here, and I was having a breakup in internet connection for a while. Well, so I was.
Let me interrupt you, sir, for 1 minute. So here also in chat, there are plenty of messages coming. Sir, your voice is breaking, and all these things. But expert don't know that
Yes,
his or her voice is breaking. So this technology works on both the side. One, a learner has to understand. Expert also has to understand. When I am speaking, I feel everything is fine at my end. But probably at the other end, learners end, internet speed is not something not good at his or her side. So might be they are going irritated and they started messaging. But one has to understand and learn this. These are the two ways. Okay, sir, carry on.
That's So the point will come here also, that how we understand the language of technology and how these digital platforms function, because everything is new. And as Jivani sir said, that we all are learning on all these things. So we try to understand what is the language, what the speakers are able to see, are they able to read all the chat simultaneously going on, or the questions or not, or we require a moderator to moderate the chat. That is the back chain that is going on, that is functioning. Everybody is watching the comments, but the speaker is not able to see those things. So like when we are looking at understanding online teaching in that context, so what are we doing? We have to concentrate on how are we reacting to what are we doing. We are seeing that lots of people are making fun of online teaching. Lot many people are saying, like for example, parents are reacting in a very bad manner against this teachers also, because they thought that the teachers are not dealing properly with our children. Now, see, suddenly teachers were never trained to see that they can teach both the kids and the parents together. It was never ever in any training program that we were told that if someday the parents of the students will come and sit in your classroom, how are you going to teach them? We have to, all parents also have to understand that, see, the process is always a difficult part, and your kid is under a process of learning something. And sometimes teachers have to be harsh. Sometimes teachers have, their tone may be very crude also, because this is, you have to see the end product. We want to have a good end product. The process is always going to be troublesome. Now, if the parents say that, no, deal with my kids in a lovely manner, in a beautiful manner, and perhaps these are the problems. But these are happening a lot nowadays. So our reaction as a parent, as a teacher, as a society to this is very important. We have to understand these things also. No doubt we can't use all these things as an excuse. As a teacher, we have to improve. As a teacher, we have to learn new set skills. We have to reconfigure ourselves, that now I am teaching at a space where it is going worldwide. Anybody, I never earlier allowed anybody to enter in my classroom. Remember when even government was asking for CCTV cameras in the classrooms, many teachers said that, well, you can keep a camera without audio, because my teaching is my monopoly, it's my copyright, and I won't allow anybody to peep into or listen into what I'm doing in my classroom. So it was a very interesting space, which was a teacher's space altogether. And now suddenly that space is broken, and you are worldwide. So very problematic situations are there, which we are combating with when we try to understand all these things. Then there is a difference between online teaching and remote teaching. What we are now doing is by and large remote teaching rather than online teaching. But there is a very interesting word, ERT, emergency remote teaching, that we are going. Temporarily, we are moving on to some platform. We don't know after 2-3 months if the corona epidemic will subside. Are we going to continue or not? Probably not. Most of them are just waiting for the classes to be flooded by children, and then they will not use technology. They will not come online. They will again forget where the Zoom was, because Zoom was for so many years with us. But suddenly in last couple of months only we realize what Zoom is. But again, so that is one of the things that we may not do that, because this is emergency, temporary movement that we are doing. Online teaching is something much different than remote teaching or emergency remote teaching. We have to design our instructional things, flipped learning, blended learning modes we have to implement when we think of online teaching also. There is a shift from learning to teaching, because whenever we are talking about online form, learning was at the center. Now suddenly teaching has again come in this. Why this is happening? Because we are just replicating what was done in F2F, that is face-to-face mode, in online mode. And that's why perhaps online mode is going to fail also. And many have bitter criticism against online teaching, because we are just replicating what we were doing in classroom environment now in online environment. And that is why there is a problem. In online or technology enabled environment, teaching was never the center. It was learning that was at the center, learner responsibility, learner accountability, learner punctuality. That was very, very important in that dynamics. Now, again, concentration in online mode has shifted to teacher, which again we require to reconfigure in a different way also. So these are some of the concerns that we have to see when we look at these ideas. And when we see this, I found a very interesting blog written by Nick Peachy. This photograph of the writer of this blog is Nick Peachy, a person who is worth following on Facebook and blog, and he keeps on writing something interesting here. So when we say that when we want to train teachers for remote teaching, as we have narrowed down to the term that it is not online, but it is a remote teaching, then he says 6 parameters will play a very vital role in coming days when we will think of training teachers, or in today's context when we want to reconfigure ourselves as a remote teacher. Then this point becomes very important. The first one is environmental. Understanding how the physical environment impacts on the virtual teaching and learning experiences. That is at the core, at the center, very important part. So what we have to discuss here is that teachers' formative experience was different. By formative experience, I mean that when I become a teacher, the first thing that I do in my classroom is I imitate my teachers. I had like dozens of teachers that come across from schools to universities. And the best teachers that I remember, I try to imitate them in my classroom. So that was the formative experience that was playing a vital role in this environment. Then teachers were trained. Normally, teachers were trained also for chalk and talk method, classroom method, not the online method. So basically, to understand that environment, we are lacking the experience of online learning. And that is identified very well by everybody. So people are concentrating on the idea that teachers should first become a learner, and they have to experience the environment, learning environment online. So physical presence has altogether a different impact. Personality traits of a person present in the classroom plays a very vital role in physical environment. Whereas in online mode, only half of myself is visible. If I am handicapped, if I am suffering from a polio disease, if I am not able to see, then in physical environment, my impact will be very less. Whereas in an online mode, it doesn't matter. I just have to sit and talk. So only the half part, and my content plays a vital role than my physical presence in the classroom there. This I have told many times, that we teachers rely a lot on eye contact from students, from the gestures of the students and other kinds of things. Now we have to rethink about eye contact, gestures, and other things also there. Second one is technical part, which we have to understand. Understanding how the virtual platform works. As Giovanni sir was rightly telling that people are commenting, asking questions, but the speaker is not able to see all those things. So how we understand virtual platforms, and if there are technical glitches, how we understand those technical glitches also. The possibilities it offers and its limitations. Both the things we all have to understand. We have to tell students also that these are the problems that may happen, and if this problem happens, this is how we are going to troubleshoot the problems there. So when we are working on platforms like Moodle, teachers will not be able to handle the backstage part of Moodle. You will have to understand that you will rely on somebody when you are working on Moodle. Blackboard or Canvas may be costly, that the teachers cannot afford those kind of things. You are working, you uploaded all your material on Canvas or Blackboard, and then suddenly someday they say, now pay money. So all your content, all your hard work will suddenly become zero. You again start looking for a platform. So right from the beginning, when today we are thinking in terms of going online, many people who are first time trying to think of going online, you think that which platforms are going to support free educational services in longer duration of time, or even if they are going to charge, it will be very minimal charges. And so my personal favorite choice is Google Educational Apps. Google educational apps. Well, as a kind of a promise, they keep on writing that by and large, they will remain free. They will charge for extra services from corporates or schools or colleges, but to individual teachers, minimum basic things will by and large remain free. That is the promise that Google is giving. And to some extent, I don't know why, but I rely on the Google's promise rather than the promises given by the other platforms. So if I look at 5 years down the line, then for me, Google educational apps is a first choice. And that's why Classroom, Meet, Google Drive, that is something, blogs, Google Groups, Google Sites, lots of things, which we keep on working. And for almost last 10 years, we are updating our students to work with Google apps and other things. So that is technical side and looking at how to move on into that platform. The third one is interpersonal. Understanding how communication takes place and relationships are developed in virtual environment. Now, this is also a topic of communication skills when we talk about, and the teachers of communication skills know it very well that when we write, the written words can mean so many different things. The spoken word cannot mean so many different things because the speaker is present there. Today, when I am speaking with you, I have my own tone, my feelings, my emotions, my enthusiasm about that word that narrows down the meaning that I want to cultivate. Now, for example, if I write that Google is more reliable, and if somebody is reading, somebody will say that, well, you are marketing Google. Well, when you listen me, then you find that, well, I'm passionately saying that because it is free and they are not going to charge large amount of money in future also. So the written word and the spoken word has a different dynamics, even if the words are similar. In online communications, you might have seen that when we write on on Facebook, when we comment on social media, people start fighting a lot. And then they realize that what the other person is meaning. I don't want to say that, but the words become so crude. When I speak, my empathy, my sympathy, my tone gives a meaning. For example, somebody is asking me something and I write a message, I don't know, in a WhatsApp, for example. Now, I don't know seems to be very crude also to another person. And then the person may feel that I shouldn't have asked this person the way he's replying crudely, I don't know. But if they call me and say, well, I say, maybe I don't know. When I say that, it means that the question was very interesting. I am looking for an answer, but I don't know. And I regret that I don't know. And the tone of I don't know keeps on changing. So on the digital platforms, by and large, when we are going to communicate through chats, written communications, at that time, how are we going to control our expressions into these terms? So insults and appreciations, they all sound very extreme in written communications also. So that is interpersonal and communication ideas that we need to think of when we deal with this. Pedagogically, we have to think a lot. Learning affordance, understanding our environment, our learners, devices, tools, network, capacities, and then we have to think of pedagogical model also. For example, I looked at this pedagogical model when I think of this, that first there is an instructional design model which says before live interaction, during live interaction, after live, what we have to do, then how the e-content will be divided in form of textual content, video resources, online test, additional resources. And then I think of platform and whether I will go synchronous, asynchronous, live, if I will go, how much time I will go live in 100% of the time that I have to teach. So these are pedagogical ideas that we need to think when we look at those things. What we have to keep in mind as a teacher is that my students, what kind of devices are they using? We have many webinars and conferences, workshops, even the physical one, where people talk about innumerable platforms. Like in the questionnaire that was given to you as a network teacher, you find there are so many list of web platforms. You can come live, you can have digital platforms, so many. Now imagine if I am working on 10 platforms at a time, how my students are going to cope up with me. They have to download all 10 apps. Now, if in a class there are 10 teachers, in a school there are 10, and if all the 10 are using different web platforms, how are the students going to cope up with them? I know the problem that students' devices are not high-end devices. they have a memory problem also. If they want to install one app, they have to remove another app also. So in that case, all teachers, schools, colleges, institutes have to decide that let us come down to a platform which is not very heavy, which may work on slower internet connections also, which can work on slower internet connections also, and then let us try. So don't go for very attractive, glamorous platforms, like trying to say that I know this, I know that, but come down to something that is very good for the learner. Very important part to know the learner devices and this, and then we create the affordance within virtual environments here. Behavioral understanding how students and teachers' behavior can impact on the learning experiences there. Both teachers as well as students need to be oriented and trained for understanding the behavior on virtual platforms. See, this is very interesting that up till now, when we were training teachers, we were not expecting learners to understand teachers' behavioral pattern. We always were telling teachers that try to understand students' psychology, try to understand students' behavioral pattern, but we never told students that try to understand teachers' behavioral pattern. Teachers may also have a problem, try to understand that that was not a part of our training programs. Now in this platform, because there is a level playing kind of a thing for everybody, we also need to teach students as well as the parents and also society, all the stakeholders, to understand teachers also and teachers' problems also when they deal with those kinds of things. So when we go faceless, no gestures, no body language, no eye contact, a new way we have to understand the behavioral patterns. Today, I can't see you all, those who are listening. I don't know how you are reacting to me. I am just peeping into a tiny hole of camera and trying to maintain eye contact with you all. When I read down, you know that I don't have an eye contact. If I want to have an eye contact, I have to go deep into the hole of a camera. So you think that I am talking with you. Now this is something very, very difficult. The teachers should be trained into looking into camera and keep on talking constantly. There is nobody in the hall, in the room, and only with this camera, with this laptop, I keep on talking. So in a different way, the training requires to be configured. Last part is motivational, understanding challenges and techniques that can be used to foster motivation in virtual learning environments. One of the interesting aspects will be gamification should become essential part. I would like to give an example of Khan Academy's Khan Academy courses. If you have gone through Khan Academy courses, you know that while you are watching some videos, you are getting some points as if you are playing a game. And then that increased number of points and badges and medals inspire or self-motivate learners. In a classroom environment, there was somebody sitting besides us to motivate that well done. There was teacher to tell us well done. Now there won't be that motivational part. A pat on the shoulder won't be there perhaps. Peer motivation won't be there. Teacher motivation won't be there. For teachers also there won't be motivation. So self-motivation mode becomes necessary when we look at these aspects here also. So these were the 6 aspects in which we need to see that we have to train teachers into how we look at the remote kind of a thing in this mode. I would request Giovanni sir to share some of the experiences about his teaching remotely, taking workshops, and how all these things has played somewhere a significant role as a part of a teacher trainer in remote teaching also. Giovanni sir, I would like to listen to you on this.
Thank you very much, Bara sir. A fantastic presentation. Slides are very beautiful as usual. Commendable job. Now here I am reading so many questions coming through chat. Now you are bit free, so you also go through it. There are plenty of interesting chats are there. So many people are asking, majority people are asking about the rural area, that students don't have a facility of in rural. Most of the Saurashtra students don't have a facility of technology in rural. See, this is not only the options. First, everybody has to understand this. We are not going to finish face-to-face learning and face-to-face mode of teaching. That will remain. That is a pillar, that is a main. This is a subsidiary, this is an extra thing that we are discussing about. So everything cannot be possible. Everything cannot be done through online. But here, right now, understand the situations. When we are talking about a rural area and all these things, everybody has to understand that this is now onwards. For this situation, we were at all not prepared. All of a sudden, lockdown came, and all this, everything is shut down. And still we don't know how far this is going to remain as it is. So for that aspect, we have to provide something which is known as the flip learning. Now, online learning, as Bharat sir says that we are replicating, so that has not been done. We have to use so many other alternatives. We have to put material on a YouTube channel, on our own website. To create a website nowadays for teacher, to create a website is simply a job of 5 clicks. Go to the Google website. Within a 5 click, you can create your own website. Put your material. Say for example, if you want to put, if you want to reach to your students is not coming nowadays in the university. I am not able to go to their home. So we have to create one platform, digital platform, where students can come and access the material. So best option is to create a website and put a material. Now, if you have a handwritten notes, say for example, till date, if you have a handwritten notes, a very good application is available. You don't require any laptop, you don't require any desktop. Simple mobile will work. So many apps like Cam Scanner, Adobe Scan, Document Scanner, these all, Google Lens, these all application will provide. You can convert your handwritten note into the PDF. So put your PDF documents over your website, and students will take your material. So now here, when you put material on a website, so students have a chance. Your material is there for 365 days, 24/7. So whenever students have a network, whenever students have a time, whenever they have a convenience, they can come to your platform, virtual platform, and then access the material. So this also one can do. Okay, only taking classes on Zoom, only taking classes on Google Meet or WebEx is not called the online learning. We must have to establish one online pedagogy, and it is a subset, not actual thing or not main part. So these are the few things one can do very easily. We just train so many teachers online. Only the thing is how you can create your own video lectures, how you can create your own audio lectures, how you can create your own website, how you can create your own Google Classroom, so students can come. See, a Google Classroom is a closed environment where you can allow 250 students. If you have a normal account of Google, you can allow 250 students. And if you have a G Suite, you can allow 2000 students at a stretch. And it's a beautiful structure thing, and very easy to access. Only the thing is you need Gmail ID. Another one is open access, which is a Google website. Within a 5 click, you can able to create your website very easily. So you can put your material, and not for your students, for anyone. Those who have a link, they can come and say, check your material and access your material. So these are the things, very easy things you can do. Now, how to create audio and video lectures? So if you have a 2010 onwards PowerPoint, then you have a facility to convert. Simply just go to the file menu, export, click on export, and PowerPoint will provide you option of creating a video from your entire PowerPoint slides. So very easy. You have already PowerPoint slides. Only the thing is just search a version of from 2010 onwards. There is a facility, export button is there. Automatically through single click, your entire presentation will convert it into the video. Now, if you want to add your voice, there is a facility. Just go to the slideshow, record your voice, and rotate your slide according to your narration. Again, click and export button. Again, your video lecture is over. And if you have access of Office 365, the latest version of PowerPoint, there is also a facility you can include a camera, a webcam in your presentation. So these are the simple tools. If you are using mobile, and if you want to convert your video lectures, so just download PowerPoint presentation and then download another application which is known as the AZ Recorder. Record it, your video lecture is over. So these are the very simple tips and tricks. So one can convert content into the e-content and put on your platform. Right now I don't have a light, and so my entire setup is not working. Otherwise I'll live demonstrate how to do this. These are the very simple thing one can do very easily, and one can provide material to their learner or students. So not a rocket science. I'm seriously I'm saying these are not the rocket science. Only you have to sit and explore all these things. Okay, so over to Barar sir. Hello. Recorded videos which are uploaded on YouTube can break schedule learning. Students can learn whenever they have time. Yes, you have to put material on your platform, YouTube, your website, anywhere. Just create a platform where you can also put very easily, and your learner can also come very easily. So that is only a bridge in this era we can do very easily. So, and your material will remain 365 days, 25 days. So the question of rural area will be nullified.
Yes, there are interesting questions. Like obviously in most of the webinars, we have seen this question about rural area people. Yeah. And like Saurashtra region, one question is there about that most of the students are coming from that. In another webinar, I also talked that University of Hyderabad also did a survey, and they found that some 10% of the students responded that they are not able to have internet access. So they thought that online classes will not be possible because some number of students won't be able to access those things. I would like to share this screen, which obviously is very important when we look at the pedagogical aspect here. That so we have this screen. On one side, we have Benjamin Bloom's the pyramid, which we rely on for the pedagogical aspects. And then we have Maslow's need hierarchy there. So we always have to keep in mind that Maslow's need hierarchies will always play a very vital role. Like physiological needs, air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, that is basic necessity as a human being. Safety needs, personal security, employment, resources, health, then friendship, intimacy, family. Now, for all these things, you do not require education at all. It is when it comes to esteem, self-respect, self-esteem, status, recognition in society, or self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. It is here that education comes. So, for the basic needs, obviously, education is not required. There were very popular memes that we have seen. The popular memes were telling that education is not essential services because it is shut down during lockdown. So obviously, it is not very essential. Education obviously comes later on. But at the same time, we have to take care of everybody. We are seeing that there are so many poor people on the road. They don't have roti, kapda, makan yet. Forget about the education. They were not even able to have a physical classroom to go. Forget about online classrooms. So these are the problems that we are battling with. So digital divide is something else. But before that, there is still this divide where how many of the people are still not able to get an access to the schools, that is physical schools also. So that concerns are always with us when we look or when we think of these things in terms of education and other kinds of things also. But as we know that even though everybody is not able to get entry into schools, we do not stop teaching. Do we stop teaching if everybody is not able to? Do we wait for everybody to first enter in the class and then only teach? No, we don't. We start teaching. We are teaching for many years, wherein now the percentage ratio is very high. But imagine 20, 30, even 1947, how many schools do we had, physical schools? But it doesn't mean that we stop teaching. We didn't wait that first we have a school for everybody and then only we will start teaching. We can't do that. So the same way in online also, why are we asking that question? That if some people are not having an access, why shouldn't we teach online? the way we started teaching in physical environment, why don't we start teaching in online mode? And then the government policies and other thing will take care. People will ask for the things and that. One thing that we can do as a government also can think of that, or a policy change that can be done, is that like we should start with smart villages rather than smart cities. And the smart villages are those villages where obviously you have good internet connectivity first, then good road connectivity. So if our priorities will change, then in many ways, because digital ways are going to sustain our economy also, our jobs also in many ways. So people may not have to travel, and for that we don't require a high quality road, but we may require high quality highways. Internet ways becomes a necessary part. So somewhere we can think of smart villages, and people will think also. Things are changing very fast. When people say that in earlier, like 4 or 5 years back, when we used to do workshop, people said that our students don't have devices. Students don't have. After 3 years, government project, all college students have a device now. Namo Tab is with almost 100%. At least 99% of the people have now devices. So now we have a network problem. And then that can also be sorted out there. But the thing that we have to start doing, we can't wait for everything. I many times give a humorous example to many of the teachers also who try to argue in this sense that my all students are not able to attend my online classes, and so I should not take online classes. Well, I say that when you are taking physical classes, there are 100% people present in your classroom. No, you will say hardly 70% were present. 10% might have illness problem. Other 10% might have a commuting problem. The other 10% might have some homework, household work. So obviously 70, 80% used to remain present. In many colleges, hardly 20% are present in physical classroom. And yet we are teaching, we don't wait for everybody to come. So that's a humorous argument that can be given in that case also to the people. If there was any other, yeah, Google Meet, Malay is asking a question. Google Meet is free. Right now, Google Meet is free for everybody, for 100 participants. And they say that up till 30th September, it will remain free. And then they are going to change several such kinds of things that requires there. So I'm reading some of the questions here. Possible to have teachers having high quality computers, audiovisual tools. Obviously, people have to spend their money also on in part of purchasing high end of devices. Also, at least those who are having good salaries, those who are on government payroll, their salaries are very good. In this lockdown period, if there was any group of people who was happy, it was the salaried people, because their salaries continued. The people in business were not able to sustain, but these people, so they have a good salary, and I think they can spend some money for getting a better equipments for their classrooms. Okay, online is effective, but parents must be active on this platform. Okay, parent guardians or parent guidance is necessary. They also are there. This was Bhagirath was asking this question. Kailash is
one thing here I have to mention. There are a number of participants has not renamed their device name. Redmi is there, QCOM is there. So first they have to learn that first you have to rename your device name, so one can get idea to whom we are talking.
Yeah, that's true. That also people have to learn to change the name. And like if you are using device name, then people will throw you out of the webinar rooms because now there is this this Zoom bombing happening. People come with dummy name and then they disrupt the entire environment. They disrupt. So people are throwing them out. So first thing that people should see that they have their name reflected there. There is a question by Dr. Mahesh Kikani here. How can all the trainers and learners be taught first to be used to online education? Well, lots of training programs are happening by HRDC, Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Saurashtra University, Gujarat University. They are conducting wonderful programs to train teachers and learners, and everybody can participate. That is one good option that people can do. Jivani sir is also a resource person in many of such programs. Second one is that there is DIY, do it yourself. There are lots of videos available online. If you have a question, ask a question to YouTube or Google, you will find the way that so many people are teaching how to do. So DIY is a very interesting option. In case you are not able to enroll into any training programs, do it yourself. You will find everything available online there. Bindi Mehta is asking about small kids are not interested for online learning. Well, my personal opinion is that for primary schools, there is no need of online learning. In primary schools, if for 1 year there are no classes, good enough. Let them enjoy. Let them be with their parents. Let them enjoy. There is no need. Well, this is for higher, like if you are in 11th standard, 12th standard, 10th standard.
Homeschooling is a good option.
Homeschooling is a good option. So that is, many people have said that children should be not be burdened with lots of education. This is an opportunity for us to see that why burden, why classes. Like, sometimes I think that government should come with a strict rule. Primary schools, no online teaching. Because it's not necessary at all in that context. We talk about higher education and important exams like 10th standard, 12th, or competitive exams like NEET, JEE, and those classes becomes necessary there. Jalpa again is asking about everybody cannot afford all the resources. Well, that is still a concern. Digital divide is a question that we try to answer. But as soon as the problem comes, we will think of giving an answer. Also, when the problem of the food scarcity came, people started giving foods to so many people. I remember 2 years back in Chennai when it was flooded, there was a crisis of electricity, and people were not able to charge their mobile phones in moments of crisis. And because it was flooded, electricity supply was not maintained. So from Karnataka, Bangalore, people started donating batteries, power banks. So power bank donation was happening in Chennai, so that people can have connection with the other people. So same way, resources can be the another option that people will think of giving to poor people, needy people.
Parad sir,
yes, sir. Yeah.
My little concern is why people are started understanding that now online is only the option.
True. Huh?
And by considering that this is the only option and they are asking the questions, see, this is the filling the blanks. This is the only for the COVID situation, COVID-19 situations. Once it gets over, probably everything again back to the routine.
Normal. Yeah.
Normal. And we can take a positive part of this, that we started, so many people now gets idea about the Zoom platform. As myself and Dr. Barad conducted one classes on Zoom, I think before a year.
Yes.
Before a year or two, where nobody was thinking about
Yes.
Zoom and all these things. But now people started talking about Zoom, Meet is better than Zoom is better than WebEx is better than all these things. So these are the positive things that people get idea about. All these streaming medias are available. Nobody was knowing about the OBS, Wirecast, and so many applications are there. But now people get knowledge and get idea about. So this is a plus point. Now we have one more option is also there. Earlier it is only a face-to-face. Now we also have one more option. So that we have to take in a positive way.
That's true. So it is supplementing. It will supplement our physical classroom, and it will somewhere enhance our skills. It will make us global also. Our teachers will get a chance to become global in different terms when they try to utilize this. So this crisis is an opportunity to reconfigure ourselves to be ready for online teaching. Obviously, online is not going to be the only way of teaching. It is going to be supplemented with each other. I recently I gave this example in some webinar that when newspaper were the only source of news, when radio came, people thought that now newspaper will die away. Then when television came, people thought that nobody will have radio now. But today we have all three things. We have newspapers, radio, television. So they assimilate the same way, online, offline, everything will assimilate with each other, and our teaching will become more stronger, more powerful also. If any questions are remaining there, Dr. Firoz Sheikh or Om sir, then we can address the questions. Yeah, most of the questions we have answered here.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bharat sir and Dr. Jivani sir. You have shown the learners new path regarding teaching learning dynamics. I'm sorry that due to some technical issues, we cannot hear Dr. Bharat sir for some minute. I'm sure that the teachers and the students who have witnessed this discussion will follow your suggestions and thus will be benefited a lot. It is for sure. Thank you very much, both of you, sir. Now it is time to solve learners' query, but most of them are solved by Jivani sir and Bharat sir during their presentation, right? Sir, I have one question. E-content development is a major issue, no doubt. Swayam is a good platform, but seeing the regional need and syllabi, I personally think that university should take initiative to develop e-content as per the syllabi and regional need. And for that, financial assistance should be given to the teachers. Government may allocate a special fund for this purpose. What is your opinion, sir? What is your view?
Jivani sir.
Yeah, for learning, sometimes what happens, the takeaway part, what we are taking away from this situation, the positive aspect of this situation, I must say this. Every university must establish a studio in their campus with full-fledged staff and studio. So whenever we are praying this kind of situation will not occur any time in the future. But if we have a better studio, better platform, and for the regional, rightly concerned for the regional language, but we have a good facility of studio and all these things, so we can put better content and we can prepare our teachers for better e-content and all this material. So this is a best. This is the only thing we can take away from this situation, that every university has to think about establish an handy studio on their campus. Just like a laboratory, every university must have their own studio. Say, for example, Gujarat University have immersive facility.
Yeah, that's a good Gujarat University labs like we have. So let's see, if we will have a studio and a dedicated staff, also technical staff to edit videos and other thing, then like a teacher's workload can be one lecture they can take in lab, and then the team will prepare a video, will be approved by the speaker. So then the teacher, you won't have to give extra financial assistance to teacher, and there will be a very good setup in a university where it becomes a part of workload in that way. So that is some model that we can think of in case we are not getting the grants from any of the agencies for e-content, but somewhere a workload sharing can become an interesting part of that.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, both of you, sir. Now I will invite Dr. Om Joshi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, BKNMU, Junagadh, to offer vote of thanks. Dr. Om Joshi and Dr. Suhas Vyas. Dr. Suhas Vyas is a professor and head Department of Life Sciences, are the main behind the curtain of organizing all these webinars of BKNMU. Sir, please, Dr. Om Joshi, sir, please, for offering vote of thanks.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, respected guest speaker, Head of English Department, and all the participants. We have reached the end of today's live session on post-COVID-19 reconfiguring teaching learning dynamics. My heartiest congratulations to all of you for making this session a great success. I, Dr. Om P. Joshi, on behalf of English Department, considered it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have made it convenient to attend live session with large amount of audience together. Department of English takes a new initiative and innovative experiment in the field of English language learning and teaching in the Bhakta Kavi Narsimha Mehta University. Under the inspiration of Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. Professor Chetan Trivedi sir. First of all, I would like to thank to the respected Honorable Vice Chancellor sir for presiding over this function and for an enlightening address. Today, both the expert inspired and motivated to students, researchers, learners, and faculties with new aspects and experiments for the betterment of the nation. Today's discussion has been very helpful on the online education. My profound thanks to you, Dr. Mahesh Jivani sir, for your indeed useful talk. We have been fortunate to have a speaker like you, and in this live session, you have inspired our students and faculties to achieve at a higher through online education. Your guidance and encouragement about most use of technology based online learning and teaching through Web 2.0 in post-COVID-19 is really very invaluable. I must express my deep gratitude to our eminent speaker, Dr. Dilip Barat sir. We have just listened to the powerful and thought-provoking speech by you, sir. Your thought on the conceptual and practical dimension of online learning and teaching while COVID-19 and after COVID-19, post-COVID-19, a step towards creating a new initiative online teaching and learning. I also express my sincere thanks to our respected Head of English Department, Dr. Firoz Sheikh sir, for arranging such a grateful organization of the session. I thanks to all the faculties, especially Dr. Rupa Dangar, who stood by us for every work, detailing and guidance they provided us. Lastly, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to each of you who participate. You made this live session a success, and it is a great pleasure to see so many of you here. Hopefully, you enjoyed this session on online learning and teaching. I'm sure that the discussion of today's session will be definitely helpful to you in the future. Thank you very much. Have a good day ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ombai. Thank you, one and all. And I declare to end this national level seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.